Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about the House of Windsor. Edward VII ruled England from 1901 to 1910 and he was the eldest son of Queen Victoria. He was the first king of England who directly succeeded as a son of a ruling queen. And even when he was Prince of Wales, he gave up his German titles, and thus the rule of the Hanoverian dynasty, which lasted for nearly 200 centuries, came to an end. And Edward was 60 years old when he ascended the throne, but he had an advantage which no other his predecessors had. That is, he had the good fortune to visit all the parts of British Empire because he was a representative of his aged mother. Because his mother was aged, she could not go around, but he used to represent her, and therefore he travelled to all the places of the British Empire. And then comes George V, who ruled from 1910 to 1936. He was the second son of Edward and he was 45 when he came to the throne. And in 1893, he married Prince Mary, the great granddaughter of George III. Thus, for the first time since the Tudors, both king and the queen were thoroughly British by birth and education. And the new king was particular that his dynasty should be known as the House of Windsor. And towards the end of 1911, the king and the queen visited India and held a darbar at Delhi. It was then at that time he announced the transfer of India's capital from Calcutta to Delhi. The change, however, was effected only in 1916. And during this historical visit to India, they also came to Madras, and the king was very much offended by the name Black Town, which was the old name for present Madras. And it was called Black Town because that place was inhabited by the natives in contrast to the cantonment where the white Europeans lived. And he wanted that name to be changed. And to flatter him, the town was later renamed after him. And it was called as Georgetown, and his statue still stands majestically in that place. And the saddest event during his reign was the benevolent monarch was the outbreak of the World War in 1914. The war ended with the signing of the Armistice on 11th November 1918. The king died on 20th January 1936, hardly a year after celebrating the silver jubilee of his coronation. Then Edward VIII succeeded him, and Edward VIII wanted to marry an American lady who had divorced two husbands. And this marriage was strongly opposed by powerful persons like the Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin and Dr. Lang, the Archbishop of Canterbury. And though many prominent people and even the newspapers supported the king, he opted to abdicate the throne. And on 11th December, in a radio broadcast, he announced a decision to the nation. And accordingly, his younger brother, the Duke of York, became king, assuming the title George VI. Thus, in 1936 alone, England had three kings. And George VI ruled England from 1936 to 1952. And 3 years after he became the king, the Second World War broke out. And when the war ended, he had the misfortune to liquidate the British Empire, which was built up in the course of nearly 3 centuries. He died on 6 February 1952, and his elder daughter Elizabeth was crowned Queen of England on 2nd June 1953. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.